Here in the Northern Hemisphere, the days are growing notably shorter. The high color of October is gone, and the hills are slowly revealing skeletal trees as leaves are stripped like flesh from bones. Come 4 in the afternoon, you look up from your work with the uncomfortable realization that daylight has almost passed you by, and there's nothing you can do to hold off the approach of darkness. Now is the time of year that my Norse and Scottish ancestors could hear the voices of the dead calling out with increasing volume. My ancestors thought that the veil between this life and the next was thinning during this time of year, and the distance between ourselves and our beloved dead shrunk. Were my ancestors drawing these conclusions based on the drama of the changing season? Did they feel the stirrings of natural law which had been engraved on their hearts by their Creator? Was the question of what happens when we die followed with the question, well, what is observable in nature? The history of Christianity in Europe is a long and exciting story, full of adventure and danger. I never get tired thinking about ancient Romans who brought the faith with them to the outer reaches of their empire, or of wandering monks sharing the gospel wherever they went. They came to foreign lands and effectively spread the faith by listening not only to the people living there, but also to the very way that the earth itself sang out to the truth of God. I know I'm biased, but like my distant ancestors, it's hard for me to imagine a better catechesis on the afterlife than what one can naturally find here. This time of year is full of so much beauty and longing. The harvest is over, and there is a long stretch of cold and dark ahead. Our thoughts follow the season and turn to those who have returned to the earth. Though we know that our beloved dead are not gone, but resting, transforming like summer's lushness, which now is slumbering under the frost and soil. We know this, but in the growing dark of November, there is such loneliness as we wait to be reunited. Yet, the trees flame with astounding beauty as they die, and the promise of spring is so assured. It's like the whole world is showing us the story of the fall and the darkness of death and the good news of the sun's victory over it. I love that the church has set aside this month as a space for us to remember our ancestors with a special focus. I love that we're invited to visit cemeteries, to offer ancient prayers, and make sure there's room in our houses and hearts for all those who came before. Our dead aren't gone, no more than the green leaves of the trees are gone come November winds. Nature itself joins in the remembering, dying, and showering us with glimpses of the beauty of heaven. One of my very favorite books is the Rural Life Prayer Book. It has so many prayers and devotions that really speak to my nature-loving heart. I'm absolutely positive you'll be seeing it quite a bit on my channel. For example, there's a lovely prayer in a country cemetery, which I like to whisper over the graves in my little New England town. Dear Lord, here lie in their last rest the boys and girls, the men and women that worked on the land. They knew the meaning of hard work. They knew the joy and peace that is the product of labor. Now we trust that they know the peace and happiness of everlasting life with you. They watched the sun rise often, winter and summer, over these hills and fields. They worked hard by its light and turned willingly to their rest at its setting. Now they walk in the light of a sun that knows no setting. Lord, if they are still in the waiting room of heaven, in purgatory, bring them speedily to the light of your peace and the happiness of your presence. Dear Lord, bless us who labor now in the fields and hills where these dear dead have worked. Grant that we may remember them with charity and kindness, walking reverently in the ways that they have left behind them. Grant, too, that we may finally meet these men and women, these boys and girls, in the eternal mansions that you are, even now, preparing for us. Amen.